I'm a big believer that mindset is everything. Everything's a mind game. Everything happens in your head first. When you've got to go after something, it's all going to rely on the noise between your two ears. So the mindset of a profitable leader, for me, ground zero, base level, the foundations, the vision. What's the vision? Like, what are you actually going for? Like, and it's your vision, not anyone else's, not what you think people want you to do. It's what the fuck you actually want as the leader, because you're the one in control. And this is like number one as well. You are in control. The choice is yours. It's not anyone else's. The choice is 100% yours of where you want to go for your business, for your life, all of it, the whole fucking thing. The vision has got to be yours. That's the only bit that's on your shoulders. Like, no one else can do that bit for you. You've got to have your own fucking vision, like, so dialed in, because a lot of people have a dream. They go, oh, I'll be a dream of this. But a dream is a dream, and it's just a fucking a wish list. But a vision is, right, I am going to get to that point. That is where I want to be. That's where I want the business to be. And this is what it looks like for you, like for you specifically. The more dialed in the vision, the easier it is then on to move on. So you've got to have a strong vision as a leader, because that's then got to pass down to all your staff, everyone who works in the business, that they understand and they back that vision, and they're all part of it with you. Then number two, it's going into things knowing there's going to be way more difficult than what you think it's going to be. Like, you're going to get more shit thrown at you and have to eat more shit sandwiches than eat nice humble pies and experience the good stuff. Like, it's understanding that and going through it, and understanding that it's part of the process. Like, you're going to have to get a lot of things wrong before you get a lot of things right, and it's not for everyone. It is not for everyone. This is why most businesses, they crumble within the first couple of years, because people just give up. Like, they're not built for it. So you have to have the mindset of going, I am going to eat shit one day, and I am going to deal with it. That is such a strong position to be in. Like, knowing that it's going to happen, accepting it's going to happen, and then fucking dealing with it when it does happen. And that is what separates men from the boys. It really is. Number three is not taking or tolerating excuses or poor performance, or basically just piss poor efforts. Like, it's not accepting that, like, because what you get in life what you tolerate. And if you tolerate excuses, you tolerate mistakes, and you tolerate just not getting the results that you want, then that is what your life is going to be. Like, you've got to have high expectations, high standards, and live by those standards, and nothing else is acceptable. Like, that is the mindset hack to have, that you just cannot tolerate not being good enough, because your family, your friends, everyone that you sort of hang around with, they will tell you, oh, you tried your best, you know, it wasn't your fault, it wasn't this. That is the complete wrong fucking way of looking at things, because that leads me to my next point. You've got to have extreme ownership, that whatever happens, it's your fault, it's your problem, you've got to deal with it. Even if it directly wasn't your fault, but if anything happens within the business, if it's a staff member's fucked up, or a supplier's fucked you around, or whatever, you've got to take responsibility of it. Like, there's no point in being a blamer, pointing the finger, trying to palm it off on someone else. The buck stops with you. There's no one else to blame. There's no one else to moan about or pass stuff on. Own your shit. Like, you've got to own it. Like, the quicker you can get to a state of just owning it and going, right, what's the solution, instead of dwelling on the problem and moaning and bitching about it, get your mind into a solution-based state, then you can fucking solve the problem and move on and get with it. And that's going to happen every day. There's going to be problems every day. There's going to be things go wrong every day. Things that aren't your fault, but you need to take it and treat it that it is your fault, and deal with it. Number 4, you've got to set targets and live by them, because you've got to get to a point where you know the daily stuff that you just have to do, even though you don't necessarily, you might not want to do it, or you don't feel like you can do it, you can't be asked to do it. You've got to do it. So in terms of the business, it's like, well, we have to generate this many inquiries, this many leads a month. We have to quote this much work a month. We have to deliver this amount of work, and we have to fucking invoice this amount of work every month to achieve the vision, the goal, the dream, whatever. You have to live by the targets and the deliverables, because there are deliverables to achieving something. It's not about just the big vision, well, let's see how we go. Got to work backwards and go, this is the stuff that I need to achieve daily, weekly, monthly, in order to hit X, because that's how things happen. It's all about that living by the deliverables and the routine and the process that you just do day in, day out. You just churn it away. It's boring, but you just fucking do it, because those deliverables equal what you want. And number 5 is fucking leading from example and being the example. Like, I don't like to ask people to do something that I wouldn't do myself, or I don't understand or know how to do myself. You take extreme ownership, you lead by example, and you set the pace and you set the tone. Because if you're the leader and you're telling other people to do stuff but you don't do it yourself, you're just a fucking hypocrite. Like, people see through that. Like, people do not warm to that. People do not follow people who are hypocrites and talk a good game but don't do what they say they're going to do. So you have to set that standard and that example yourself. And until you get the business to a point where you can afford to employ someone to be that person, you might then step out of that business. You've got to be that leader. So do not operate in a way where you don't follow the standards that you're trying to set. You've got to be the example and lead from the front. Like that is the absolute best leadership, is leading from the front and going, right, we are doing this. This is how I want things done. And you're pushing that forward with your team. Then number 6, we do not get derailed or change our focus, because it's so very easy to set a plan and a structure, and when things aren't going your way, of going, well, I'm going to change the plan, I'm going to do this. There is an element of time that you need to put into stuff without losing the motivation, the consistency, and just grinding it out without changing lanes and changing direction. Because otherwise you make 2 steps progress, you change course, you make 2 steps progress, you change course, you make another 2 steps progress, and you've got fucking nowhere. Like, you have to be able to stay the course, especially when you're not specifically getting the result that you want. Like, you might not be getting the instant success or result back, but knowing that you set the right plan and you have to just keep working and keep going. You can't just give up and change course too easily and too quickly. But that does lead me into the next one, is being aware all the time of knowing what pays you off. Like, you have to be constantly aware of what you are doing. If you've given something enough time, like I'm talking 6 months, 9 months, depending on what it is, because it's, some stuff you're going to get feedback really quick, and in your gut that it's not the right thing. But if you set a plan and you go, right, we are doing this, you've done it for 6 months, 9 months, and you've got no progress, no nothing, something is fucking wrong. Like, you need to change it. So you have to be aware all the time of tracking, getting reports, getting the data to allow you to make better decisions. Which leads me into the next one. I don't even know what number we're on, but I'm just spouting them off. Is that let data help you make good decisions. Like, emotions will lie, fears will lie to you, reactive states will lie to you when you're fucking stressed out. You make knee-jerk reactions and decisions. You can do. I used to. I don't do that now. I make informed decisions, and that is the best way to operate. Because if you look at really solid structures like the legal system, Things like that, they have to make decisions based on facts and legalities and actuals. They don't make decisions based on, well, I think he fucking did it, so let's nick him. It doesn't stick, it doesn't work. And you want to apply that to your business of going, right, what's the facts and the realities? If you're weighing something up, the numbers won't lie to you. They will allow you to make really good, informed decisions. Especially when it's big stuff, you want to know that you've got the right information in front of you. You've got the facts, then you can execute on the right decisions. Then the next one is your circle, like only having the right fucking solid people in your corner. Because the minute you've got doubters in your corner, or people that just chat bollocks or moan or don't really know what they're fucking talking about, offer an opinion, gets in your mind and it festers away like a little seed of dog shit, and it can judge and cloud your decision making process, your mood, your energy, your vibe and your whole thing. And you haven't got time for that. As a leader, you haven't got time for that shit. Like, there is no time for that. So you have to keep your circle really tight of people that you respect their opinion, they're a trusted source of information, and they bring something to the table. Like, my circle is really tight now. Like, it's full of people that are older than me. I'm the youngest in my circle, really, apart from a few older mates from school. But older people in business way ahead of me to give me really sound, knowledgeable and experienced advice. Like, it's such an important thing to have that, because your circle is everything, and it's that whole thing. And it sounds like a cliche, but who you spend your time with, the 5 people they say you will be that next, the 6th person, you will be an average of them. But it is so true. If you spend your time with 5 wankers, complete time wasters, energy vampires, who are not really going anywhere, you're going to be that. So you have to keep the circle tight to keep your mind tight, keep everything locked in. The next one is not taking no for an answer and just finding a way. Like, whenever you reach a problem where you're trying to do something, there's always going to be saying, you can't do that, you can't do this, that's not the way you do it, it's this way, it's that way. That can't be done. Anything can be done. Like, there is not one problem that hasn't got at least 3 solutions to it. And that's what I always do, is whenever I reach a problem, there is always someone that's done it. There's always someone that's overcome that, and they've moved on to the next level of the game. So you have to have that approach and that mindset of, what's the solution, what's the options to get over this, and then what's the best one to actually do. There's nothing you can't get over, nothing. And the next one is resilience. Like, you have to be resilient as fuck. Like, you cannot let anyone alter your thought pattern or mood pattern. You have to be made of stronger stuff. You have to be just resilient. You have to be able to take shit, eat shit, not lose interest, not lose enthusiasm. Resilience is all about the mindset of just knowing every time you reach a bit of pressure, a breaking point, you understand that it's part of the process. Like, it is part of it, and that pressure is essential to moulding you into being the right person. Like, when situations arise and it's fucking shit, that is what's moulding your character. And there's someone that said it that really stuck with me, is that life will carve bits out of you to make you the finished person. So don't see bad shit as bad, see it as part of the process of making you into a fucking animal. Then next is understanding that you don't know what you don't know. So you have to get informed by the right people. If you're going after something new, or you're trying to do something new, or go to a new tactic, a new strategy, there is a gap in your knowledge. Doesn't matter how clever or big you are, you always need info and input from other people that are more experienced to take the time, the hassle out, and make it easier to take that next step. The knowledge gap is always the limit of where you're going to get to. If you don't know it, you don't even know you don't know it. How the fuck are you supposed to be really good at doing that particular thing? Knowledge is absolutely everything. So always be seeking knowledge, education and learnings, but most importantly from the right people, because you can learn the wrong shit and put the wrong shit to practice and the plan can fail. But get the right shit from the right people do it in the right order, the plan could be so much quicker. And lastly, fucking enjoy it as you do it. Enjoy the progress and the journey, because otherwise you'll just hate it. You've got to take some enjoyment into it. You've got to do the hard work. You've got to put the shift in and go through a bit of struggle sometimes to get things and get to where you want to get to. But just enjoy it. Just enjoy the process, because life is short. Like, life is limited. One day we're all gone. We're all here on borrowed time. No one knows how much time we've got. So enjoy it. And that's one big thing that I learned, is don't get so stuck in it that you just forget to have a bit of fun and you actually enjoy what you're doing. Anyway, it's enough of that. Crack on, make it happen, and I'll see you on the next one.